Welcome to the Minnesota Revival History Channel. I am Dale Gilmore. One of the more interesting stories of God's leading through people in Minnesota is the story of Elfrida Holt from Duluth, Minnesota. In 1926, she was a school teacher in Duluth. But God began to speak to her. She said she kept hearing the words Korea, Korea in her spirit. Elfrida was a member of the Duluth Gospel Tabernacle Church, and so she decided to confer with her pastor, who was Reverend E. C. Erickson, about this obsession she was having with Korea. She was embarrassed to admit that she was not sure where Korea was located. But as they talked and prayed, both came to acknowledge that God was calling her to become a missionary to Korea. At that point, she began some intense discipleship training at her church, studying the scriptures. About 4 years later, in 1930, Elfrida Holt, along with Gladys Parsons, were sent out from the Duluth Gospel Tabernacle Church as missionaries to Korea. After some years of language study, they began a Sunday school. Then in 1933, they held their first evangelistic service. One of the young men in Korea who began attending the Sunday school and came to know the Lord Jesus was named David Yonggi Cho. Over time, Reverend Cho would become the pastor of the world's largest church at that time, located in Seoul, Korea, called the Yoido Full Gospel Church. Now, Yoido Church today is probably not the largest church in the world, with current membership around 480,000 people. But the church has two unique features which helped it grow and continues to help it thrive. First, the church is built around small accountability cell groups scattered all around the city of Seoul. Taking the biblical story of Moses' father-in-law, Jethro, instructing Moses not to be the sole judge for the people, but to appoint leaders over the people who could share the ministry burden. That's found in Exodus 18, 21, and 22. Yoido's cell ministry has grown from 20 cell groups in 1964 to now over 10,000 cell groups, some of which have become independent churches. Secondly, the church has taken prayer seriously. Yoido Church developed a prayer mountain in 1973, which is open to persons from all denominations. The church has a main sanctuary there on the mountain, along with 12 different chapels scattered across its heights. There are also 214 individual prayer grottos on the mountain, as well as a lodge to stay overnight. The mountain has had an estimated 20,000 international believers a year come and pray there. By far, it is one of the key intercession locations in the Far East. Well, 50 years later, in the 1980s, while Dr. Cho was celebrating his 50 years in the Lord, he invited Elfrida Holt back to Korea and to Yoido Church to honor her. Elfrida was not in great health, and she was in her mid-80s age-wise, but she was able to return to Korea that year to be thanked and honored by one of her key disciples. I think there is an important lesson for all of us to learn from Elfrida Holt's story. When we are obedient to Jesus Christ to share the gospel to those around us, we do not know where that gospel seed will land or what will become of it. I am sure Elfrida did not know that David Cho would one day become a pastor and build the world's largest church in Korea. But God used her obedience to bring that about. We do not know who will hear and respond to the gospel when we share it. But God may use our witness to raise up a person who might change our city, our state, or our nation. You have been watching the Minnesota Revival History Channel. My name is Dale Gilmore. If you like this program, I would encourage you to click the like button below. I'd also encourage you to subscribe to this channel. I have a goal to get over 1,000 subscribers as soon as possible on this YouTube channel. There's no obligation, there's no financial obligation. If you subscribe, you will be the first to know of new videos put on this channel. I'd also like to inform you that the story of Elfrida and many other stories on Minnesota's revival past can be found in a book that I authored titled Minnesota, the Revival State. It can be ordered online at Lulu Press, Barnes & Noble, and Amazon. Now you can communicate with me at minnesotarevivalhistory@gmail.com. That's minnesotarevivalhistory@gmail.com, which is this channel's email address. Until next time, thanks for watching.